Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcoin Guides, being my guide for God of War 3 on Chaos difficulty. Today we're doing part 11 entitled Tartarus. And yes, we've been to Tartarus, well, I mean, this is God of War 3, so technically like once right now in chronological order, I guess. Because most of the time you end up in Hades, but you know, this is Tartarus. This is actually the further down pits of Hades. This is the true hell, I guess you could say, the more hell. Super hell. Anyway, a few guys here. Usual dead zombie guys. You can go for grabs. Get a couple orbs. That kind of thing. You know, get combo orbs. You could just give regular +5 orbs from just a brutal kill. Which is always kind of nice that God of War 3 did change that. To where, regardless of how much combo you have going on, you can still get that benefit of the brutal kill. That +5. Always nice. Good fucking change. A lot of God of War 3, to be honest, has a lot of good changes. It's just not my favorite in terms of level design, really. You know? A lot of things here I don't really care much for, but to be fair, mechanically speaking, it is quite sound and might also be one of the best. If not potentially the best God of War, in all technicality. So, anyway, starting off, I say that in every video, but, you know, it's just me. I have to. We have the undead soldiers that we have to deal with that are going to try to surround you. And, you know, whether or not you use magic or not, completely up to you, of course. But for me, I would rather just save my magic for now and just use these guys to my advantage. And I use the Rage of Sparta here, specifically just to kind of get them off me and get some damage going on the Centaur. You don't need to do it, but it does kind of do a bit of decent damage. Again, I'm not a big fan of Rage of Sparta in this game. But at the same time, I'll use it when I can, if I know when I can use it. And for Centaurs, yeah, I think it's definitely way better to use it on them. So, the main thing that you see me doing here, of course, is utilizing the undead soldiers to my advantage, grabbing them and using the square move to kind of just run through them, or do like a sprint attack, and focus on the Centaur itself. Now, something looking back that I kind of wish I would have done was maybe use the Cestus more often. Because in all honesty, the Nemean Cestus is a really powerful weapon, believe it or not. You'll also never really get to see the Claws of Hades. I assume that's really good. I just don't particularly know. Excuse me. I don't particularly know exactly why it would be good. I know I'm supposed to be the guide guy, right? Like, I'm supposed to be the guy that knows all this stuff, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm really just that dumb. I never really played much with it. Also, I don't know why I'm getting kind of excited. No, I know why I'm getting excited. I'm kind of like prepping myself up. I'm kind of just doing like a little pep talk in my brain. I'm like, get hyped, bitch, get hyped for things. Get hyped, you bitch. So, yeah, I'm trying everything I can. It's like 10:30, 10:40 at night, and here I am hyping myself up for like tomorrow and stuff and all this other crap. It's nothing to do with like, I mean, well, it might actually affect you guys because I might end up doing more videos tomorrow too. Because right now, this is what, part 11 I said, and we have part 12 that I still have recorded. And I think it's edited right now, but I could probably record it after this, I don't know. I'm still working on part 13 now, that one's kind of pissing me off. Anyway, starting off with this section, now we have to deal with 2 Chimera. Chimera, you know, you fought them before. If you might have skipped to this video, and, you know, maybe you've never played God of War 3 before. Basically, you know, they come with 3 different types of heads. First head being the ever so annoying, poisonous snake head. And what I do is I just hit him a few times, run away, and use the bow. Of course, you get a second one that appears. Best thing to do is try to stay in the back where the camera is kind of at. Where the camera kind of spreads out a bit to show, like, most of the room. So that way you can get a good idea where these guys are. If that's not more of your forte, you can do what I did here and just kind of run around the room and just use the arrows to kind of keep them at a distance and, of course, continue that consecutive amount of damage. Typically, I would I would recommend focusing on one singular Chimera at a time because, well, not only that, but one thing you could always do, I know I keep like backtracking my thoughts here. One thing you could always do is you could focus on one at a time. That works too. But if you have a specific head that you prefer to fight against, or one that has a disadvantage against you, like say the lion head here, for example, where he's kind of a bit slower and has to actually run, and you can see him running across the room and has really slow attacks. Or you could always use the snakehead variant, so that way, you know, he's just constantly spewing poison and not being effectively near you. So that's more your cup of tea and your choice at that point. For me, it was more so I focused on one guy at a time, but ended up accidentally getting stuck on the other one. So whoever came up to my doorstep first, I guess, got their ass whooped. It's kind of like a reverse Halloween, except instead of getting candy, they get, you know, I get shit on my shoes from shoving my boot up their ass. But other than that, yeah, so I don't know why that made me laugh for. I have no fucking clue. I'm being weird. Yeah, just, you know, when you get to the ram head, watch the blocks. You'll know when there's an attack coming that you can block. The fire you can't block, as far as I'm aware. I don't remember if you could. I never test that theory. I mean, I've kind of forgotten over the years whether or not you could do it or not. I'm pretty sure you can't. But yeah, so the fire, you know, it doesn't have very much range, but it has just enough range to where it can trick you into thinking that maybe it's not far enough, but at the same time, you never know. And a quick, you know, left or right dodge right before he's about to blast it is also good too, because you do have a little bit of iframes of getting away from that, which helps. And then, of course, usually I do the same thing when it comes to these assholes. I just stay away, and I bait out attacks. I just kind of wait for them to go for a ram charge attack, so then I can block them, get the parry, run away, use bow, and then after that, we're good. Okay. I had to move my mouse real quick so I can see if I was actually recording this commentary. Not that that's happened recently, which, I mean, to be fair, it did happen on my Let's Play channel, which I just recently got done doing Tekken 2, by the way. I just finished it, and it's uploading. It'll be done uploading on Thursday. I scheduled all the uploads because I'm a fucking genius, you know, when it comes to that stuff. Now, it's just more so like I just did them all like one night. Well, it took me a few days to do it, but I still, for the most part, finished them pretty quick, got them done, and just scheduled those uploads. So that's for the main channel. You can check it out in the description below if you want to see the link to that. If you like my content, want to see my commentary, and me talking about who, God knows what, without focusing too hard on something specific. So yeah. After all of that said and done, you know, I skipped the whole puzzle thing. You guys don't really need to see all of that. You know, even if you did need to see it, like, yeah, it's sped up, but I'm sure you could probably figure out from where I'm going. If not, you can always slow down the video to kind of get an idea. Or always watch somebody better. I mean, that could work too. I don't want to sound like a douche. I'm just saying, like, for me, though, I would rather skip some of those segments a little bit, some of those puzzle segments, just because, you know, it's Chaos Mode. I've already played it like a million times. I'm sure most people that are probably watching Chaos Mode may or may not have already, you know, are playing it too, so they kind of already get that. Granted, at the same time, there's also the potential chance that, you know, casual viewers could be watching it too, so I gotta keep that in mind, but I don't know. Fuck. I just don't like watching them, okay? There you go. Also, do not throw off the undead. Don't throw them off, because you might miss that chance of getting orbs, like I did. So just go ahead and grab them, use the triangle to break them in half, or just whatever. You can do whatever you want. You know, because this is a guide. I'm not trying to, like, force you to do one specific way. I'm just giving you my advice. And whichever advice you use, maybe it comes in handy, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a singular guy. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy, that's all. Yeah, other than that, it's just undead for a good bit here. There's nothing too special about them. Well, they're Argonauts, I guess, because they're Skelly Boys, as I like to call them. I'm pretty sure they would be considered Argonauts. At least that's what I used to call them all the time back in God of War 2. Because, I think of Jason and the Argonauts, you know, which I believe was a Greek film, Greek story from back then. So I kind of assume that if it's a skeleton, it probably might be an Argonaut. But my Greek only goes as far as, like, this and potentially Beowulf, and not much else. God of War really helped me a lot with my Greek mythology shit, even in school. But yeah, I'm going to show this part off here just to kind of showcase, you know, quick time event stuff, any of that crap, just in case anybody might want, like, future reference or something, and be like, okay, which quick time, you know, might come up, might not, that sort of deal. So Kronos' hand, the very first beginning part, not too difficult. And I found a fun little strategy that I found. So what I do here is I just grab one guy and just do the square move and ram through the rest of them. I should probably start calling it that from now on, just ram, because I think that sounds better than train. To be fair, both do have a very sexual innuendo to them either way, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, throwing them off works, and if you keep them, if you keep using the ram technique while they're near that blister that they're spawning from, then you'll knock off more than just one at a time, and that helps out big time. So, big time rush, yeah. Come up here. You should have plenty of time to come up here and do this. And, you know, break that. And after that, you have to deal with the giant hand thing. If you see his hand move in his mouth, like he starts to kind of, you know, bend backwards with his head there, he's going to go for that rather difficult move to kind of dodge, sort of. I mean, yeah, if you bait it out until, like, the very end of when he's going to do it, that works too, of course. But I always seem to kind of struggle with that perfect dodge. And plus, he does a lot of damage with it too. It's crazy. So what I recommend doing here is just staying kind of to the left side of the screen and not necessarily staying where I'm at. All I'm doing right now is just kind of just focusing on enemies and getting them out of the way. And do keep in mind that even if you were going to use like one of those circle moves on an enemy, you might end up accidentally coming out of that circle move straight into his breath attack, and you don't want to get hit by that because it does do a lot of damage. Because it does a lot of damage over a good amount of time, and it will typically kill you almost instantly if you're unfortunate enough. And typically for this, he only ever uses his hand to kind of slam it down. This is not the part where he does like some of those other like push attacks, I believe. Unless he did, and I just got lucky. I'm trying to specifically remember. Oh, yes, here we go. Okay. So, yeah, you have to kind of just watch out for the shadows and then climb on top of his hand. And just don't worry about the guys. Just ignore them for the most part. You know, get a few if you need to, but I would suggest just ignoring them outright and not worrying too much about your upgrades. Well, not worrying about getting, like, too much of your upgrades. Also, every time I see this little spot right here that I'm climbing on, it reminds me of steak. Or not even just like, yeah, like, kind of like steak or like tenderloin, like just kind of like pink, you know, meat, pretty much. I know it's kind of gross to think about because it's Kronos Brawn, but I don't know. Speaking of Kronos, he doesn't feel as big as he should be. It's like I remember back in God of War 1, Pandora's Temple felt huge. Also, right here, stay in like the middle part of that because for some reason certain edges of that jump don't line up. Get ready for a funny, haha, you know, restart checkpoint. Yeah, I actually restarted the checkpoint. I didn't die. I restarted it myself because it wasn't favorable. But so statue guys again, I would suggest not using the L1 square move too much. I have a little two cestus, by the way. Try not to use it too much. The L1 square move is very, very dangerous and should only be used by professionals, and that's not me. So, unless you're professional, I would advise against it just because it kind of gets you stuck in scenarios you might not get out of, and it takes a while to kind of finish, and you can't really cancel out of it that I'm too aware of. I don't think you can. But yeah, statue guys and just undead, you know, just regular minions, regular mooks, regular goons, that kind of thing, regular lackeys, whatever you want to call them, skelly boys, you know, the huge. You could use them to use like the ram attack, like, you know, circle plus square on the statue guys, but I just go for Cestus. It's got good knockback on it, and on top of that, it just does a decent bit of damage to practically everybody, so kind of comes in handy. Right there, they would have surrounded me and done that whole, you know, minigame where you have to kind of shake them off, but I was too cool for school for that one, and I told them to back the fuck off. We're not playing that way. So for this, camera's kind of out of control. Just immediately start jumping to the right, because if you might get unlucky, sometimes I do, where the enemies will be on the wall and they'll attack you, you know, while they're on the wall if you're too close to them, of course, because that's what they're going to do. Because this part does take a bit to kind of get to the next, you know, get to this segment. and it's kind of annoying. But I'd say either just try to kill as many as you can, as fast as you can, but as soon as he starts getting ready to slam his hand down, I would say start blocking, just because the camera gets kind of a bit wacky there. It's a bit too far for my own personal needs. And God of War Ascension is a cursed game for that shit, too, by the way. Just fuck that camera, man. Fuck it. Especially, mainly in the beginning. It's mostly the beginning parts, man. That camera just kills me in that game every time. I mean, I'm blind to shit, so that doesn't help. But, you know, it sucks. I feel like I'm not the only one that probably thinks it. By the way, I don't think Ascension sucks. All right. I mean, yeah, it's not my favorite of the God of Wars, but I wouldn't go as far to say like it's terrible. Maybe in the past I might have, but no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. There's really no bad God of War that I've played. I've never played the mobile game, and I haven't played that Facebook Artreus game that I keep hearing about, but I don't know. I never played them, so that doesn't count. Coming up here after that cool grapple section, which, by the way, can we ever get like an old school God of War game again? Like, you can combine the two. You can combine old school with the new school. Just give me, like, back the original camera and all that stuff, and, you know, zooming out like this. Kratos can keep his axe, but also keep his blades and fight like he used to. And bring back the grapples, man. Those grapple things were so cool back then. Still are. So, you got the troll Cyclops here. Again, a huge recommendation would be the Cestus, because it works out wonders against big enemies. I would always recommend using Cestus against like big type enemies regardless. But if you're like me and you just kind of want to get some range between him and you, then just use blades to kind of get, you know, some poking damage kind of out there. But yeah, I would recommend using Cestus. I didn't think very hard about that. I did in the beginning of the game. Oh, I thought about the beginning of the game a lot, but now it's just kind of every man for himself at this point. I'm just like, fuck it, whatever. We're just gonna do what we can. And now, after you've broken open the shoulder vagina, is when you have to do a quick time event, you know, with the Cyclops. By the way, Cyclops, like troll Cyclops, the ones that you can climb. I called them troll ones because they had that big ass club. They typically have a lot less health than your normal, regular, run-of-the-mill Cyclops, so they don't take too much damage to eventually put them in circle. Which, of course, you know, you can use the ram ability from circle square to also do a decent amount of damage, too. After that, you're going to want to start holding down the R1 button quickly, and then jump to the right just once. You don't need to go that far, and then jump to the left just once. Slide down, and then this guy will be here. Cyclops will be there. Just got to hit him like once, maybe twice, a couple times. You got plenty of time to do it before the stomach juices kind of get you there. Well, the saliva, whatever the fuck, you know, is going on. And then back to quick time events, because most of Kronos' fight is very theatrical, and I would also probably argue not my favorite necessarily, but definitely one of the better theatrics of the game for sure. I've kind of gotten tired of Poseidon, to be honest with you. I remember like Poseidon being like a really cool part back in the day, but I've gotten so tired of his bullshit. It's mostly Chaos Mode that ruined it for me. Just don't like that fight anymore. Kronos is alright. I mean, because I do kind of like the interactive boss fight type thing that he's got going on. It's pretty unique for God of War. I mean, it's not like wholly unique. I mean, the Kraken from 2, you know, was relatively puzzle/boss fight. And I guess you could say the Fates maybe as well. 2 had more of that stuff than anything. Yeah, the Minotaur from 1 kind of. But it ain't much. You're just mostly just shooting off armor, and if you're lucky enough, you can actually kill him in a couple of hits of those log shots. I've done it before, where I've actually gotten like a couple of quick other shots in on him, but it doesn't happen very often nowadays. It's kind of hard to hit for me, mainly because I'm not a speedrunner. So yeah. Which, by the way, if you want to learn how to play God of War better, besides guides, something that might actually come in handy, and I recommend this, speedrunners. I feel like speedrunners do know a lot more, if not potentially better tricks than some guide people can probably give you. Not saying that you know, oh, you shouldn't watch me at all because I'm a loser. I'm just saying, like, in general, you know, that'd be a good piece of advice. I've seen some people play God of War speedruns. You know, I've seen some God of War speedruns. I don't know why I said it in a weird way. I've seen them before, and yeah, there's some cool stuff you can figure out. And now, of course, Hephaestus wants to betray us, and that's never cool. And I kind of just skip most of the kill scene shot just because it goes on for a bit too long for my needs. I kind of want to make these videos as short as I can with getting as basically make them condensed. Not really making them super short, but just condensing them. And now we have the Nemesis Whip. Yes. And for me personally, like, I can see the use. I just, again, it's not my cup of tea. Which is always favorable for a God of War game. Like, if there's a weapon you don't like, you don't have to use it. I mean, I don't use the spear for God of War Ragnarok, like, ever. Draugr Spear, I think it was called? I don't know. But anyway, this is just showcasing, you know, what the whip can do. If you hold triangle, you can kind of, like, stay in air and then fight them in air. It's got a lot of air combat potential. Over here to the left, Hephaestus' ring, so if you want to get that. And, of course, from the other part before, you know, Aphrodite's thing behind her bed, which we're going to go back into now, her room. That little vagina portal, that's basically what the fuck it is. And yeah, right here, you can pretty much just have sex with Aphrodite again if you want. I did, because I'm just a Giga Chad like that, you know. I did. I'm showing off the L1X, because I never got to use it very often. I never use them anyway, but I was just showcasing that. For the hell of the guy, just why not? And I don't know if I upgrade anything at all. I don't know. Okay, well, I start to upgrade the blades again. We're going to try to go get max. But anyway, that's it for this part. So see you guys in the next one. And as always, take care, everybody.